The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, today on Aging Horizons, please join us for a wonderful show about the Lifespan Respite program we have here in Montana. Respite is one of the most important services I think a family can get because it helps keep everyone on track, keeps them feeling fresh, and keeps them feeling strong. We have a great guest, Vicki Clear, so today, please join us.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
No one likes to have to ask for help. It's a courageous act.
Sarah Solomon, Energy Share Coordinator.
Our clients work hard, sometimes at 2 or even 3 jobs, but still struggle to keep the heat on. They're doing everything they can. They're proud and they don't give up. I feel inspired and honored to work together with these Montana families.
To donate, call 888-779-7589 or go to EnergyShareMT.com. Energy Share, you can help your neighbor stay warm.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
It was a beautiful day. There was about 2 square feet of ice near the door, which I slid on and fell, cracking one rib. And I became somewhat frightening for me to walk outside, particularly in the winter. The Stepping On program came as kind of a surprise to me. I didn't know about it. I've learned the importance of proper balance. I think anybody who has fallen or is afraid of falling would benefit from this program.
Hello everyone and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Kimmy Everman, and as I said in our open, we're going to be talking about something really important today, and that's respite. And more specifically, the Lifespan Respite program we have here in Montana. We have an absolutely great guest with us. I love when Vicki can be with us to talk about this really important subject. Vicki Clear, who is the program director, or the Lifespan Respite program director for DEEP. So glad to have you, Vicki.
Nice to be here.
So let's just start out with a little foundation, Vicki, and talk about what is respite? What is lifespan respite? I think a lot of people might have some different ideas about what that might be.
Well, Lifespan Respite is an amazing program, of course, and it gives breaks to people that are caring for a loved one. Just short breaks, and they apply for a voucher that helps pay for the respite. And with that, then they can hire anyone they want that's over 18 and doesn't live with them to provide respite for them, or they may use an agency. And it's just awesome because it gives them a little break here and there, keeps them fresh, keeps them, hopefully they take time to take care of their own health. And we have 2 voucher programs. So it covers pretty much everybody.
And what are those 2 programs?
Well, one is the Lifespan Respite program, and it is for anybody, all ages, all populations, whoever needs a break. And then we have the Dementia Alzheimer's Respite Voucher Program, and it is for anyone with any kind of memory loss. So if I get an application, even if they apply for Lifespan Respite, but they fit into that program, I put them into that program. They work the same way. You can hire the same people. There are just a few little differences.
And how long have you been doing this respite program here in Montana, Vicki?
Well, personally, I was hired in 1998 to do the lifespan respite program for DEEP, and so I've been doing it that long, but the actual program throughout the state that we're doing now started in 2015. So a little over 5 years.
Wow. But so you have barrels of experience under your belt coming into something like that.
Well, some people think so. Yeah, I don't know. I guess so.
So, Vicki, why do you, after all these years of experience, why do you think respite is so important for family members?
Well, I have seen actually the caregivers pass away before the person they're taking care of because they tend to forget about themselves. They're so busy taking care of the one they love, they forget to take care of their own health. They don't go to the doctor. They get just burned out. They don't take a break. Respite prevents abuse and neglect because of people that get really stressed out, and it just prevents so much from happening.
Right.
And it's good for the person being cared for too, to get a different face to look at once in a while.
Sure. And what kind of things do people do when they take respite? I mean, I guess I don't even know what kind of activities would be okay.
Well, some of them actually use it to go to their own doctor appointments, which is fine. Some of them just go for drives, especially right now. Sometimes they go see other families. They see like families that are in town. Or sometimes if they have more than one child, they spend time with one child while the other one is being cared for, which is a great thing. So they each get their personal attention. Sometimes they go out and garden and just get away, or even sometimes they just sleep, which is definitely needed.
And I think what I was getting at there, and you've completely hit it right spot on, is that you can do whatever you need to do to get yourself refreshed. Would that be correct?
Definitely. Yep. It's very flexible. It's open to whatever. I mean, they can go shopping. They may just go sit outside, go to a park, go to lunch. It's whatever gives them a break and helps them come back refreshed.
Right. And how long do these respite periods usually last? Are we talking about a couple of hours, or is that up to the person?
It's totally up to the person. There are some people that, for them, they may take a week off. Like I've had people that maybe wanted to go out of state to go to someone's graduation or a wedding or whatever, and that is their getaway for the year. And so that works for them.
Sure.
Other people might use, an hour a week or a couple hours, or it just depends. Whatever their need is, it fits their need.
Okay. And for the first of many times, let's talk about how people can even get a hold of you to apply for this. We'll put your phone number up on the screen. What should they do? Just call?
They can call me. I can send them an application by mail or email. They can go to our website and print the application for the Lifespan Respite program off of there. They can...
Okay, and I'm just going to interrupt you for a second and say we're going to put that website up too. We're going to put your website up on the screen so people can know how to get to that. Go ahead, Vicki.
And then I can send it to them, and then they can send it back to me any way they want. They can email it, fax it, mail it, whatever works for them. We try to make it as flexible as possible.
Okay. Well, that sounds just great. Folks, as Vicki said, it prevents so much not great stuff to take respite and get yourself refreshed and back to the job if you're a caregiver. We have a lot more to talk about. We want you to have the information you need so you can tap into that respite. Stay with us, and we hope we'll bring you a lot more information.
Providing long-term care for someone in need is a labor of love, but it is a labor. Time time apart is healthy and necessary both for the caregiver and the person receiving care. It allows each a respite, time to relax and recharge. If you're a long-term caregiver, visit the new Lifespan Respite website. Financial assistance may be available. Respite for caregivers. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. It's okay to get it.
I've been shooting since I was young. It's something I've always enjoyed. I wasn't feeling like myself, when my friend noticed. He asked if he could hold onto my guns temporarily. At first, I was a little shocked, but then I agreed. I think he saved my life that day.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
3,000-pound walrus? Good insulation. 10-pound Sphinx cat? Bad insulation. Puffed up cardinal? Good insulation. Naked mole rat? Oh, bad insulation. If your home's insulation isn't all that it could be, the Low Income Energy Assistance Program may be able to help. Call today. You just might be eligible for weatherization assistance, and that could make your nest a little cozier.
Hello and welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're talking today about Lifespan Respite with Vicki Clear, one of our favorite guests. We're talking just how important the whole exercise of respite can be to a family, to a caregiver, to a person receiving care. Vicki, welcome back. Glad to have you.
Hello.
So, in the last segment, we ended to talking a little bit about a voucher system that you use. Can we go further into that, and you can just explain a little bit more about that?
Well, I just wanted to make sure people knew that it is a really fast turnaround process. So once I receive the application and enter it into the database, and I call the person back within 1 to 2 days, unless it's a weekend, of course, and then explain to them how it works, and they are able to start right away. So it's really fast beginning. And then as they use Respite, they just turn in their timesheets that I send them, and I'll explain to them how to use it. Mm-hmm. And it is a reimbursement program, although they can pay the Respite provider after they get the check from us.
Okay.
They turn in the time, and then we mail the check to them. So we don't expect them to have to pay everything out of pocket up front.
Boy, that's good to know, and that would make it such a nice, slick process, too.
It is. It's really, I think that's one of the things people really love about it, is that it's quick and there's not this long, drawn-out process.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't, every time we've ever talked about this, Vicki, I'm always struck by how very little bureaucracy is involved. And I think, as a person who's worked for the state for a long time, I kind of love bureaucracy, but I also love when we don't have to use it.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's so flexible and it's just awesome.
Yeah, good. Well, now let's move on a little bit to, I guess, the question of the hour for everybody that I talk to, and that is, how has COVID been affecting the program, the service, how people are reaching out to you? Tell us a little bit about the impact for you guys.
Well, I think that respite is still, of course, a need, and that for a while there, for the first couple months, I think the use slowed down a bit, although beginning in June, it's picked up quite a bit. Mm-hmm. We still receive just as many applications throughout the whole thing, but use is starting to pick up, and people are they're tired of being at home. Right. They're tired of being sick, and they really need that break. And so they are starting to use it. We have offered them, a couple things, like if they need someone to go to the store to get groceries for them, if they need someone to run errands for them, that we really encourage them to use their respite for that, because that might be what gives them some stress relief.
Sure.
You know, if they can't leave and leave their person with someone.
Sure.
So that's one thing. But it's still been busy. I mean, I have not missed a beat. I'm working from home most of the time, but it's been busy. It's still been busy.
I would imagine, you know, you and I just chatted about this for a minute, that it's almost, you need it more now.
Well, I think so. I mean, I have one lady that called me, and her story is not usual, but they actually had a fire in their house, so they had to move into a hotel. And her husband has Alzheimer's, so this is really hard for him because, you know, he's not used to the place.
Right.
He doesn't really know where they are. And then the hotel had to shut down the food service, so they didn't even have that process that they could go down. So they would have to order food in, and it was a long. I think they were in there for like 7 months, 7 months. It was crazy. And then they finally got to go back into their house, but in this whole time, she did not leave him once. So she was like, I really need a break. And I'm thinking, you really probably do need a break. And so, and she said, you know, I just maybe just go for a drive, you know, drive out by the lake or whatever, just go and sit, you know, maybe even take a nap or whatever, but just, you know, to get away. And so that was one. And then you have these other people that are home with their kids. You know, a lot of people are homeschooling now. So all of these people had, you know, they used to send their kids to school and have time to do these little chores at home, you know, maybe dishes or cleaning or, you know, relaxing, whatever. And now the kids are there, so they don't get that time. And so that builds up a little bit of stress. And so they need it even more than ever, to have someone just take the kids for a while so they can get caught up and get some of their things done. So it's just, you know, it's crazy the way the world is right now, and people are they just need a break, and they're just finding different ways to do it, you know? Yeah.
And I think it's so wonderful to have that our citizens have access to a program like yours where, you know, there's no judgment about what it is you want to do. There's no rule that says you can't take a nap. And I think you would probably agree. There's enough guilt on the shoulders of a caregiver as it is, without adding to it that they feel guilty that they're leaving for a nap.
Yeah, definitely. And we've even added a couple things because of this. Our funding source has given us a little money to pay for little packets that have gloves, masks, sanitizer, and antibacterial soap. So we can send, you know, a little packet to them in case they're in an area where they can't get a hold of that, or they don't have the funds to pay for it, because right now a lot of people are raising the prices. So we have that. And then we're also offering them different ways to use their respite, a little bit of extra respite money, and that's to purchase things to help with anxiety, like weighted blankets or fidget quilts, or a robotic pet, and you know, things, educational toys, so that actually gives them more respite. They may be at home, but if their child,
but it's still a break,
right, because they're busy and they can kind of do their thing. So we're really trying to be flexible.
Vicki, it sounds great. We're going to be right back, folks, with a whole lot more.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
You mean I can get help paying my prescription drug premiums?
Let me get this straight. I could be eligible for help with my family's prescription premiums even though I own my own home?
And our assets won't be counted.
If you're a Montana resident enrolled in the Medicare prescription drug program, you could be eligible for help paying your premiums. Call or visit the Big Sky RX website today to find out, even if you think you're over income.
What do you know about that? I'm eligible.
I was outside working on some equipment, nothing too strenuous. I started sweating and feeling out of breath.
When he felt pressure in his chest and aching in his arms, I knew we had to call 911.
First responders were there before we knew it. 38 minutes later, the doctors had restored the blood flow to my heart.
Now we know dialing 911 saved his life.
Your life is on the line.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
When I found out it was diabetes, my first thought was, Barb, you need help. You have to take control of this. There is help. My doctor gave me a phone number. I called and signed up with a diabetes educator. There is help. I have to put blinders on when I walk past the bakery counter. I can feel my blood sugar go up. You succeed a little at a time. If you have diabetes, help is available. You do not have to do it alone.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're talking about lifespan respite with Vicki Clear. Vicki, welcome back. Vicki, you know, in our last segment we were talking about how important, especially during the COVID pandemic, that respite has become. My question is, are there enough providers out there?
Well, it is like kind of a difficulty for some folks. If they're not hiring family, relatives or friends, it can be kind of difficult. Even some of the agencies have not had staff to be able to cover. Either they're in quarantine or they don't want to go out into the public. It has been kind of difficult. So, that is one of our goals this year, is to recruit some respite providers, and then they'll put their name on a database so people can find people that way to ask and interview and try to find a respite provider. So that is our huge goal for this next coming year.
Yeah, and it'll be a big one as we all dig out from the pandemic as it is. So let's kick it off. What if a person wanted to reach out to you and be a volunteer of some sort? What would you want them to do?
Well, what they do is they would fill out an application, which we should have up on our site shortly.
Okay.
And then we actually filmed a training, kind of just a basic overall training that they would need to watch and take a little quiz at the end that just shows they did it. Then they would sign a release for a background check, and then all that stuff comes to me with their qualifications and anything that would help them sell themselves as a respite provider. And we go through that, and then we enter their information on a database, and then people can go and look by area and find them and give them a call and hopefully hire them.
Well, super. And you've done some vetting to begin with that helps that person feel more sure about what they're picking. Right. I think that's a great idea. So they should check your website for the application, or we'll put
or they can call me.
Yes, we'll put your phone number up again,
right.
And they can certainly reach out and see what can be worked out with y'all. I think that's a great idea. And I think you said something about PSAs coming our way too.
We do.
Yeah, tell us about that.
PSAs. Well, we have some PSAs that we had some families do that were receiving respite. They're really good. These families did such an awesome job of telling their story, and the respite providers about how rewarding it was to do respite and to get to know these families. And so it kind of tells that. So it's just kind of getting people interested in becoming a respite provider.
Sure.
It can be a great source of income if you get enough people and you can make it full time. There's just so much to it. It's going to be great.
Yeah, that sounds great. I'm looking forward to seeing those, Vicki, because I know they were exciting for you to work on and get put together. Let's also talk about another outreach that I think is super, and that's your Facebook page. And we can put up the address and stuff on the screen, but you seem to put up a lot of great caregiver messages.
Well, I try to make it somewhere where people can go and in this time especially have something uplifting, something good. Tips that they can use that they don't have to feel guilty if they take a break. They don't have to, they need to take care of themselves. Or I share articles about things that are going on in, caregiving today, or I wrote one little story about my own experience that's on there, and I would love for more people to comment or ask questions or really get involved in it, because it could really be a even more useful tool than it is right now.
Oh, I completely agree. And as you get started down the road of that sort of building the folks that are looking at on a daily basis, you're just going to get a greater support for the lifespan respite, I think, because I know I go there specifically for those messages to caregivers, Vicki, and that they are really very uplifting, and they really do take some of the weight off on some days. So I think I'm so glad you're working on it, and maybe this will help some other people want to get involved.
I hope so. I will put our PSAs on there too, so you'll get to see them in another place.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think that sounds great. So, Vicki, we're coming up on just a couple minutes left of our segment. What do you think is the most important message that you want for a takeaway here?
Well, I just think it's really important that caregivers understand that it's okay to ask for the break. It's okay if they want it. It's definitely okay to feel like they just need some time away. There's nothing bad about that. Everyone needs a break. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a mom that has, 6 kids under the age of 10,
right.
or you're caring for a spouse or a loved one, that you definitely need to just ask for it and call me and get a break.
And I think your point that it can really save sort of from the worst being domestic violence or something that you just cannot keep yourself together any longer and you explode. No one wants that to happen. And certainly not with anybody that we're giving care to. So it's really important to care for self.
It is definitely very important. You can't, what happens if something happens to you? Then
right.
What happens to your loved one?
Right.
I mean,
right.
You have to think about that.
And your point that oftentimes, maybe not often, but there are times when caregivers die ahead of that person. That's a scary statistic. And
it is very scary.
I think that all of us that do give care to family members need to keep that firmly in mind. And Vicki, thank you so much for being here today, because this is just always one of my favorite subjects. Love talking about it, and I hope you see more folks reaching out to you. And remember, folks, it's okay to want it. It's okay to get it. It's okay to reach out. For Aging Horizons, I'm Kimmy Everman.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.